Welcome back, everybody. This is Tom with Charlees Props, and what I have right here inside is a 5-volt differential receiver that's permanently mounted. Currently it's got one of my permanent mounted roof lines connected to it, and this works great when I've got 5-volt props around. That's what I've always designed until last season, last minute, I decided I needed a 12-volt prop over here, and I just happen to have an open port right here in this receiver. So I had to come up with a solution where I can still run this receiver and those 12-volt pixels. It's actually a lot easier than you think. Let's head into the shop and see how we did it. Alright everybody, so here we are in the shop, and this was my solution on how I could run a 12-volt prop off of a 5-volt receiver. Now this solution would work if you've got a 5-volt controller and you want to run a 12-volt prop, or if you have a 12-volt receiver and you want to run a 5-volt prop, or even if you have a 12-volt controller and you want to run a 5-volt prop. Even some of those controllers that say they only work on 12 volts. Now that's because for the most part pixels, they all use basically the same data line, and you can actually power the props separately, or power the pixels separately from how the data is being sent. And this solution is really simple, but it works and is very effective. Now in the situation I showed you outside, we've got a 5-volt receiver permanently mounted with a differential receiver in the box. And so what I did is inside of here, it's quite simple. It is simply a 12-volt power supply and nothing else. You see we've got a few glands here on the outside of the box. One gland, of course, is power for the power supply itself. And then we've got these two cables here. Now one of these cables is a standard X connect for my 12-volt props. And then this one here is a Phoenix connector that we use on the differential receivers. Now you might notice on this cable, what I've done here is I've only run the data and the ground. Now sometimes when I use a 4-wire strand, I tend to double up the grounds because it's a pretty good practice on 5 volts. And you notice that the red wire here is cut. So this goes up to the differential receiver that I want the port for the 12-volt pixels to run on. But again, we're not sending any power. We're just connecting data and ground. Now inside of the box itself, what we have, it's a little bit hard to see because it's crammed, but in essence, on this X connect, we have this running into the power supply itself, and the power and the ground connect to the ground on the power supply. And then the connector here that you see is the data line that runs to the X connect, and also the data that runs to the differential receiver. Now you might be asking, what do you do with this negative or ground signal from the differential receiver? That also goes to the ground on the 12-volt power supply. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So if you want to run a 5-volt prop on a 12-volt power supply, you can do the exact same thing. You have a cable with the connector that goes to your controller, but you're only going to run negative and data. You're going to hook it to a 5-volt power supply the same way, and then you're going to get your connector for your 5-volt system, and you're going to hook it up. You're going to connect your grounds together or your negatives together on the power supply, connect your data together, and you're only going to run power out to your pixels from the power supply. It's as simple as that. I hope this tip has helped you figure out how to run different kind of pixels on different voltages. I hope you found it useful, and check out Charlees Props, some of our other videos, or our blogs for other information that you might find helpful.